Hello everyone, Kaigan John here, and I am back with another Fuuto PI episode review. And this time, I'm going to be talking about episode 8. So, it took me a little bit to watch this episode because I was doing some stuff and whatever. So it starts off with Shotaro and Philip talking about their interrogations, the candidates and all the people in the house, and how they still can't determine who the culprit is, which is reasonable, I would say. You don't want to, pick someone too early without knowing the truth. So that's good on them. They are good detectives. For them, they have their back gadget, which also is a camera, and they can do some surveillance with that. They don't actually use that though, they use it, but it doesn't really help them. So it's just there for extra, I guess. And they find Kana walking the halls with her mask on, kind of acting all mysterious and sort of weird, like something's going on. Shotaro tries to get some info out of her, like just asking her questions and stuff, but she just says like no, she's scared, and she runs away. So another dead end for them, unfortunately. Kei is randomly standing in the hallway being nosy for some reason, and she declares that she is going to use her sort of naughty nature to win this sort of tournament thing that they have going here, competition, because she really wants to win. So she declares that she's gonna win this. In a kind of a touching moment, Shotaro and Philip discuss their weaknesses, specifically related to this case, and they both say that they are here for each other and that they need each other in order to solve this case, because they do have weaknesses that that they need help. They need to rely on each other because one of them by themselves is not enough for these cases. So, it makes sense. It's nice to see that, they're such a good duo. So I really like that. And then Kurumi screams out and Shotaro and Philip come to talk to her, and we have our next victim. So another person was murdered, and funny enough, it was Kei who got killed right after saying that she wanted to win. So she spoke too soon and she's dead. Seems like just kind of a trend here, saying like, I want to win this, and I'm gonna beat the rest of you, and then they die. It's kind of suspicious. And she also died in possibly the worst place you could die. At least one of them, and that's in the bathtub. It's nothing worse than dying with your titties out. They are just looking around the bathroom. Philip goes in and he picks up her body, and he smells alcohol, which only means one thing, and that is the dopant. So the alcohol dopant is here and possibly in the same room with them. And Shotaro says that he doesn't see Kana in the crowd with the other people, which is quite interesting because she was, around, and kind of weird that she's not there. Then it cuts to a flashback part, and Kei tried to flirt with Kuya to get into his room, but Kurumi started arguing with her in front of the room, and then Kuya just went back in. He's like, I'm not dealing with that. And then Kurumi stormed off because she was mad, and then she found Kei dead in the bath. So Kurumi didn't kill her, she merely found her, and so we know that, and then Kei just died. It points out that she did have her mask on even after coming out of the bath, which is quite strange. Usually you don't, usually if you're bathing, at least in Japan, or if you go to onsen, you just have a little towel and that's it. This wasn't an onsen, still a bath, and you wouldn't have your mask on anyway, so kind of weird. Shotaro asks Kana where she was at, and she says that she doesn't remember, which is seems very convenient, but we learn later on that it's actually pretty fair. It makes sense, actually. Philip's phone suddenly starts working out of nowhere, and he picks up the phone, and of course on the other end it's Terui, and he is now going to join the mix of everyone at this mansion. After that, pull up with the Revolgari, whatever, the big weird bike thing. They're on the way, so that's cool. Shotaro and Philip go into detective mode now, and they both say that they suspected Kei up until she died. So they thought it was her, but then she died, so obviously it rules her out. She had a short fuse and always had some kind of beef with the other girl, so that makes her an easy suspect. Shotaro says that he wants to rule out one person from the mix. As expected, it's Kana. He says that she's helped them in the blizzard, so she can't be that bad, and he feels like she doesn't really want to kill anyone, so it really can't be her. So they rule her out as a suspect. Terui, Akiko, and Togime are slowly making their way to the boys now. They're using the Revolgari to clear out the snowy tunnel so they can get access to the mansion. Finally, and it's gonna be nice seeing 3 more people show up in the mix of this murder mystery.
クライマックスヒーローズが Wii で登場。ダブルも参戦だ。新たなライダーバトル、ハードボイルドだぜ。翔太郎、フォームチェンジが Wii リモコンでできるんだよ。音も出るぜ、フィリップ。怪人とのバトルも興味深い。さあ、最強のライダーを決めろ。仮面ライダークライマックスヒーローズダブル。このカードついてるよ。
We transition into the 4th day since they have been trapped here. Apparently, the lady in white, aka Kana, left a letter saying that she was leaving, and you can't really blame her for that. She always seems scared, and a lot of stuff's going down, so you can't really blame her. You see Kana walking off into the forest, and Kurumi comforts her. She talks her shit basically, and reveals her Gaia memory and transforms into the Dopant. She uses the alcohol Gaia memory as well. And surprisingly, Kana kicked the Gaia memory out of Kurumi's hand, which really shocked me. And it turns out it's actually Philip dressed up as Kana the whole time. This must be their plan that they came up with to bait Kurumi out, and obviously it worked. Philip says he picks up the memory, and he says that alcohol memory is a silver-colored memory, which I don't think we've seen yet before, at least not really. And he says they were used by the members of the museum, which is the bad guy of the series, like the main double. I believe it's them, like Nazca and them. So she has one from them somehow, higher up one, not just like a street level one, like a level up version. Apparently, Kei had the memory before, and when she used it in the bathroom, she suddenly died from it. And Kurumi took the memory from Kei after she died and became the Dopant as well. So I'm just thinking that means everyone has used it like before. So it must be like a weird sort of memory kind of thing. And it turns out it is. Everyone's used it. They find out because all the candidates have the alcohol like Dopant implant mark on them. And Philip activated the memory, and then the symbol appeared on their forehead of Kurumi and Kana, because they're the only ones left. So the memory implant is on their forehead, and all the girls had it. So that's what we know. Philip predicts that Kana used the memory on the first night, and her body rejected the new power, which made her lose her memories and like her consciousness and all that. So that that makes sense. It's not a cop out for her. That makes sense. That's fair. It turns out Koyomi died the same way as Kei. She used the power of the alcohol Dopant, or the alcohol memory, and her body rejected it and it killed her. Because the alcohol concentration was too much for her body to handle. When they first fought the Dopant initially in the last episode, that was actually Kei that they fought. So it wasn't Koyomi, I believe it's the first girl that died. It wasn't her in that, because she just died from using it, and Kei picked it up and then fought them. Now all of the candidates had the Gaia memory like port thingy implanted in them without them knowing, which is how they were able to use the memory. So that's all 4 of them had the implant without their knowledge, basically, which is scary. And Philip says they were enticed to the mansion with wealth, and somehow along the way they were tricked by a third party for them to get the implants and sort of start this crazy ass game. And all of a sudden a bunch of mooks show up, and obviously Star and Philip both start to fight them. I don't know if they're like shocker guys or what, but they show up to fight, When the fight's happening, the people in the tunnel are still trying to clear it out, and luckily Terui is there to finally transform Axel. It's been 8 episodes. We finally could see the transformation scene, and it's pretty short, but it looks pretty good. I don't remember how accurate it is, because once Axel showed up, I stopped watching, but it's not bad. It looks pretty sick, honestly, so I think they did a good job there with that. Of course, it's immediately ruined because he turns into the bike, so it kind of ruined the scene, but whatever. Terui and Tokime show up, as on the bike, whatever, and they come to help the boys fight off the mooks and whatever else is out there. Suddenly, a dopant shows up out of the ground, and this one is Scream. Forgot to mention that initially in my notes or whatever, but it's Scream, the one that we saw a couple episodes ago at the end, the weird monster. But she's there. She has a driver like Yukiji, and Shitaro and Philip say they've never seen that driver before, and neither have I. So I think it's something new, basically. But it looks like the Ichigo, the basic driver. Rui tells Shitaro and Philip to go after the real culprit, and he will take on the Scream Dopant. And yeah, so he basically stays behind and fights her while they go find the real bad guy. It goes apeshit and starts screaming. She emits these supersonic blasts that come out of her whole body, not just her mouth, and she goes nuts, which causes Axel to use the Trial Guy memory and transform into Axel Trial, I think it's called. And just like the actual transformation, it goes from red to yellow to blue, just like the live action transformation, also like the Japanese stoplights. That is the end of the episode, and it ends with Shitaro and Philip entering the main hall and finding the true culprit. We get to see like the vague silhouette. They're saving the reveal for next week, but I think it's either Kuya or Yukiji. So that's my guess. Enjoy this. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys for the episode 9 review. End off this little arc here. This one's pretty good actually. Might be my favorite one so far. I know I keep saying that, but it keeps getting better, more interesting. So we'll see.